Japan's northeastern coast is marked by what's missing. Houses from dozens of neighborhoods, loved ones from thousands of lives. Shinichi Endo is doing what he can to rebuild. A carpenter, he's putting up a memorial, a playground where his house once stood, where, the day after the disaster, he found his mother cradling the body of his youngest daughter. All 3 of his children had died.
On top of the playground there are 3 arrows pointing at the sky. They symbolize my children. If children come here to play, I think my own would be happy. I don't want it to be a sad, lonely place.
Hana, Kanta and Kana were 13, 10 and 8 when they died. Their loss plunged Endo and his wife Ryoko into what they now call a living hell. In the 3 years since, Endo has thrown himself into volunteer work. He senses that his children have guided him.
You might think it's strange, but when my wife is sitting here and me over there, eating, drinking, chatting together, sometimes we feel something, someone looking through the glass. When I notice it, so does my wife, and she'll say, they probably came home to play again.
A 20-minute drive from Endo's home in Ishinomaki is Onagawa. The sea reared up 20 meters here. More than 800 people were killed. There's no question that communities up and down this coast are slowly changing. The rebuilding process is underway, but 3 years on, they're still marked by a terrible feeling of absence. Like that of the bank that once stood on this plot, and the 12 staff members who were swept to their deaths from its roof. Yuko Takamatsu was one of them. Her husband still carries her picture everywhere, and he thinks about her last email from the bank roof, saying that she wanted to come home. And so, last month, this 57-year-old bus driver qualified as a rescue diver. He won't stop, he says, until he finds her body.
She needs to come back home, be buried. Her bones, I mean, so we can pay tribute to her. If I leave things like this, she will continue to lie where she fell at the bottom of the ocean, and that is too sad to bear.
Back in Ishinomaki, the weather is turning, but Endo wants to show us an earlier memorial he made. He sits and remembers. It's just their bodies that aren't here, he says. So he spends time on each lovingly crafted seat, one for each child, so they don't get jealous. He will, he says, always be their father. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Miyagi Prefecture, Japan.